back to Two Balls in a Mic. We're going to get right to it. We do have the coach of San Diego Loyal midseason. It's always a treat to have somebody in the middle of the season here. We're going to go ahead and join them really quick with Alan Underwood. Please welcome Nate Miller. Mr. Miller, welcome back to, I guess we call this Miller time. The club used it too. So, I mean, this is what it is. This space is Miller time. Thank you for joining us again. Mid-season, with everything going on, how's life? How are you? How's it been going recently?
Yeah, life is good. We're right in the middle of the grind in August. This is what it's all about right here. We've had a long homestand here, so just right in the middle of the fight. And yeah, we have 10 matches to go left in the season, so we're approaching the business end.
So this is the end of the regular season, almost that business ends. You're saying the tail end. How would you say that just the season overall has gone for you? What are some positives? What are some challenges that you've encountered? Obviously, last time we talked, you mentioned that the most traveled team in the world was going to be a challenging aspect. What has it been now, being so close to the end of the season and having so many games behind you now?
Yeah, a lot has happened this season. We've had some incredible moments, some difficult ones as well. Um, we're not quite at the end. We have 10 matches remaining, so that's 30 points from the table, but we have 24 games where we've seen some things, and yeah, I think, how do I feel? We're a point away from third place. I told the team maybe last week. I said, look, we're a team that has high expectations of ourselves. So when we're not at the top, looking down at everyone, we tend to be disappointed. We just have like a mentality. We want to be the top. So a lot of teams would love to be in our position right now, 1 point away from third and fighting right near the top. Certainly, two teams have separated themselves from the rest a little bit. But we even have a game in hand on that team, so I feel comfortable where we're at. I've seen some really good signs, and then obviously this homestand, with a lot of different circumstances, we did not pick up the amount of points that we wanted to, should have, I think, deserved as well. So there's been some frustration there, but I know we're a good team, and I know we're trending in the right direction, and we've had time together as a group, and we know what it takes to do better in playoffs than this club has done in the past.
We had you earlier in the season, maybe like within the first 10, 15 games, and we mentioned all of us about peaking too early or anything. Do you think this team has peaked yet, or is the team barely heading into that direction where they're going to peak at the right time?
We've definitely not peaked yet. I can say that. We've had some excellent moments where you can see our potential, and you've seen quality, and you've seen what we can do. Just typical as our team has always been. We're a very high goal scoring team. We can put a lot of goals on the board. We can dominate the ball. We can go away from home and be very, very dominant. We've shown that, which I'm really, really happy about. That was a big goal of ours, is to be a really good team away from home. So yeah, no, I don't think we've come anywhere close to peaking. Although we've had some like games where we've like spiked and seen some really good things, but I would say right now we're not peaking at all. And so right now we're at a bit of a trough a little bit, and we're just results wise. I mean, we've had some difficult situations and circumstances in games that could have gone the other way. And like I said, with expectations at this club, when like we draw a game against New Mexico, kind of feels like we lost. And we've only ever, I went out to drinks the next night with a coach of theirs, and we sat down and we were talking about how every match of ours has been a draw with them. And every single match with them, they felt like they've won, and we felt like we've lost. And I think that just shows kind of like maybe like what kind of team we are, expectations we have as a team.
It's a good outlook. I like that. Alan?
Yeah. Do you think that the influence of European soccer, where those like wins and draws do play really heavy, like in order to win a league, it's like you can only have a couple losses, a couple draws on the way. Do you think that influence has added to some frustration for maybe the team or maybe the fans even? And how does that play into preparing yourself mentally to battle through those frustrations when in America you have 8 spots to get to the playoffs, and so there is a little bit more wiggle room?
Yeah, I don't know about the fans, honestly. I mean, I know about our performance and how we feel in the locker room. So I don't think it has to do with, it's an interesting question, Alan. I don't know about like the European, like, we don't, right now we can't sit here and think about playoffs. We think about our performances and we think about getting 3 points every week. And just, I think just who you are as a club, what your expectations are, what we think about ourselves in our locker room, make you feel differently about like a loss or draw. Like most teams would be thrilled to go away to a place like Indy maybe and get a point, and we were devastated. So it's just like one of those things where it's just when you're on the cutting edge, you want the top, like then an okay result or a good match isn't what you're looking for, isn't what you want. But this is part of football, like um, we actually have the same record, same amount of points as LAFC, and from the outside looking in, everyone's saying like they have a great season. We just happen to have two teams in our league right now that are pulling away, and that is what it is. I don't like it, but yeah, you can't win every single game. This is a really tough league with really good players, and it's getting better and better. And I think in the midst of the season, we've had some excellent results. I mean, unbelievable results. But I just think naturally, as humans or as athletes, competitors, we tend to overemphasize maybe difficult times and not enjoy the beautiful moments and the excellent moments sometimes.
No, absolutely. And this team has been bringing those moments. Do you categorize? I mean, it's been talked about here in the USL realms. Just this formation, this type of football that's been played here at Torero since you've been part of the team, which is desde que empezó, desde the beginning. So, is there a special attention? Do you give into the Miller ball aspect? I don't know if you've heard about this. Just the way that San Diego Loyal has that play style. Is this something that you've been crafting, you've been working through this season? Has it evolved in a way that you maybe didn't anticipate? Obviously, Ebby going down at the beginning of the season, multiple injuries, and we can talk about. I know Nick Moon, also very important player. But how has your just outlook and on the X's and O's kind of changed throughout this season, particularly?
Well, I think throughout all 4 of the years we've evolved. I think you're always evolving. If I'm the same now as I am in 5 years, I'll be very disappointed in myself. I think that um, I've evolved, not just in the last 5 years, in the last 15 years. And so it's just a constant evolution. And part of that evolution is the quality of the players or the specific attributes or qualities or skill sets the players bring, as well as just as the game is changing. Like I remember in 2019, guys, that before I came to San Diego, like the new goal kick law was different. So you couldn't start with
Yes.
players
Yeah.
inside your box. And so like even like little things like that as time changes can totally change what you can do. And I think what stands out, I understand like the Koke thing and how I use the goalkeeper stands out. And that is something that like over time we've evolved even this year, slowly gotten more and more aggressive with it in order to add another attacker high up the field. It's just I think it's just visually like looks different. I when you say Miller ball, I don't follow like you know the fans or anything like what that is, that discourse. I have very close coaching friends and in my community that we talk about ideas and people call me and see things and ask and things like that, and those are all fun things. But it's obviously an ongoing living and breathing thing with my coaching staff and my players. So I believe in how we play. I think that we've done some great stuff. I mean, just in this last game, we had an amazing, like I think it was a 42 pass sequence in the first half, and then we played the ball right in front of the face of goal, and our striker just missed the ball, and we should have tapped it in the goal. So I think we're doing a lot of good things. We've scored some great goals. It's like the data shows that what we're doing with the ball works. Like we're a high quality chance creation team, scores a lot of goals. Um, and I don't believe football is a means to an end. I do believe it is something that like I'm trying to find like I want it to be beautiful. I want it to be exciting. I want it to be entertaining. I want it to be captivating. So that's important to me, or else I wouldn't coach. So I don't like just to grind it to the finish. Now if that's what it takes in a playoff game, I'll take it just to advance for our fans. But I do believe in like identity and teams having a way about them and reflecting their city and creating a connection with people that's more than just did we win this week, did we lose? But at the same time, I'm extremely competitive, and I wouldn't be playing this way, or we would not be playing this way if I didn't believe it was the best way to win and to be dominant over the course of a long period of time.
Would you feel like the team right now, if played in a playoff situation, has the capacity right now to say, yeah, you have that identity to play this way. This is how you've played from minute 1 to the 90th, but to just sometimes take off the gloves and just go at it with another team. Does this team and the players do they have the talent? What is there that you see that will take this team to further than the first round of the playoff team? Like, what is there something that they've shown you this season so far?
Well, I think the biggest thing is like the courage and belief to do this in the playoff game when most people are taken over by fear and being pragmatic. I think if you can stay the most true to yourself, you give yourself the best chance to win. So I think the biggest thing I've seen is in like away from home in difficult environments, playing that way and being dominant. And so I think that is what we're looking for. However, we've also had very much grinded out games where we've gotten results. Like second half against Switchbacks at home, we weren't great, but we just defended deep and got the job done. You know, Hartford second half wasn't always easy, got the job done. So I think we've shown that we can do that for sure. We're just definitely like, I think certain players, different players that can play for us in those games give us a different dimension. I think like that's one of the reasons a guy like Joe Benny is here, is to get us to grind in those types of games, and other players as well. So I think that, yeah, we're still developing to the highest degree that type of muscle, but I don't think it's like a full game. Like I think that's momentarily like late in games doing that better. But you also saw, like, if you were at our first half when we played our real team against Dortmund, I think you can see
Yes.
maybe people saw, if you just saw the score after we subbed everyone out, you might have been like, oh, okay. But if you saw that first half, maybe people see like the potential, or like maybe some of the, I don't know, the real cool stuff that our players are able to do against a world class opponent. So, and the other takeaway from that match is what I would do to have like 5 more yards of width and a little bit bigger of a pitch and a better every single week. That would be something different. So.
I love it.
Yeah, that was a pretty fun half to watch. Some of the most exciting football I've seen live. And so I think there are some things that we can, as fans and supporters, we can see working well on the pitch. Is there something that maybe we're not seeing that you feel is working well, that maybe isn't showing up to like an average fan who may not get kind of the deeper what's going on on the program on the pitch?
It's a difficult question because I think I don't know what people know or don't know. I don't know what people find attractive or not attractive. I don't know what people care or don't care about. So it's a hard question to answer. I think what you can see is when you're at Turo, pretty much the game being played on our terms, and for us being dominant, even when other teams don't want it that way. I think something that, like, you know, I think what you've seen a lot of in the recent weeks is balls being played across the face of goal with a lot of high quality chance that we haven't scored on, even if we're not getting a shot off. And I think that the areas we're getting into are extremely good and very like high chance quality. I also think that, yeah, I don't know what they see or don't see. I think that we've, like maybe what they don't know, we've improved so much on defensive set play. So that game, the match against just this recent one against New Mexico, was the first goal we'd conceded off a corner, and that was something we had worked hard to change our structure in the off season to get better at. So I think that we're a lot better defensive team on set plays and things like this. So yeah, I don't know exactly how to answer other than like maybe sometimes they get used to like that kind of football being played, where I think it's a pretty unique thing. And I hope people enjoy it and love it. If they don't, then I'm not. I need to reevaluate, as I'm not really doing my job. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's you know, we hear it a lot, and we're there and we ask the questions at the post match and we get the feedback of like, well, what did he mean by that? Is whether it be a loss, win, a heartbreaking tie, or, you know, an exciting tie where it feels like a win, but in those situations where it's like, well, the team didn't play its best or had some blemishes, but Nate always says, and even Landon said it last year and the years prior, like, well, I like the performance aspect of it, but then I think that's kind of that separation of like, well, for the average person, like, what does that mean? Like, yes, you're happy with performance, but we still lost. We didn't get points. And again, I think that's a very, it's not a zoomed out view of the season at all, but I think that's kind of like a aspect where it's like, well, what exactly does that mean performance wise on a training ground? When you guys go back and review film, are you highlighting these plays and being like, I like the way that you do this, let's build on this? Or is it more like, well, this play was like this, let's work on this more combination of? Can you take us through what that's like over at the Olympic Training Center?
Yeah, so I think when you look at, okay, so you play 34 games in a season, and we live in an environment where it's a very low scoring sport, and so if you just go by the score every week, you're going to end up lying to yourself a lot, because the difference between one call or not call, scored penalty, not scored penalty, missed tap in, scored tap in, like a lot of things can come into play, and so if you're just reacting to results, like you are going to end up being very lost. And players know this too. When you play for long enough, you know that you have to look at things in the big picture. Like, so we've lost seven times in 24 games this year. So like, we look at those. All right, 4 or 5 of them were like, you know what, like we weren't the better team, but the other ones maybe were a few draws. I'm saying, listen, like that was a good performance. We play like that almost every game. We're going to be in a good spot. And it's the same thing. Like before, I've said like, hey, like when we've won a game in the past, like maybe switchbacks at home as an example, I thought we suffered in the second half and weren't great. And
Mm-hmm.
because it's also an opponent. Like if an opponent doesn't punish you for something, that then it's but you had control. Then you're just not. We're not evaluating what really happened. At the same time, if like a referee punishes you for something that they shouldn't have, then you can't just be upset at the whole night or the whole week preparing for it because there's so much out of your control. And so I think that's just logic to prepare like that, and that's why we look at data and KPIs and things so that we can evaluate ourselves correctly and therefore correct the problems and not just be focused on like just be reactive to win loss win loss. That's the job of the fan. So the fan should be up and down and hating the losses and loving the wins. And so you don't interview the fans after the game. If they did, that's what you would get, and that's what they should be doing, man. They should be living and dying by the. But I wouldn't be doing my job if I was like a fan. That would be a terrible way to lead a football club. So I might not be giving you the answer you want, but that's not my job, right? My job is to like improve the team, lead the team, and sometimes that's saying, hey, we weren't great today, but we won the game. Like credit to some guys or whatever. And other times it's, hey, we played great and won. What a day. Enjoy it. And other times it's, man, we played pretty well. We didn't do everything well, but overall it was a good performance, and we drew today. The player was offside. It is what it is. So we still could have been better. So those are things that like I know maybe it's not like what people want to hear, but like yeah, at the end of the day, like you have to correct. You have to be focused on your own process and not go up and down with the waves of results.
And then obviously some of those things that are out of your control are refereeing, right? I mean, you mentioned after the game against Memphis that you don't really agree with the way the game was called, but how do you motivate your players after that? How do you tell them, hey, like, we had a good performance. It's just for this reason we didn't get the result we wanted.
I'll be your anger translator, Nate, whenever you need. Whenever you need. These cabrones.
Yeah. Man, those are tough. And how do I, these guys aren't 16 years old. They're full grown professional. One of them is. They're full grown professionals, but like, so it's not like I have to baby them through how to, emotionally like handle these moments. That's part of your job, and you have to do your job. And so yeah, games like that are frustrating. So, for example, when I get all my data back saying we should win that game 76% of the time and lose it 5% of the time, it's like, well, that makes no sense. That's frustrating. But like we are that 5% in that moment. That is what it is. So if we're talking about that specific Memphis game, yeah, like we're sitting there in film showing the goal, and we kept our line at the exact height, and it was disciplined on that shot from the center back from distance. Maybe we should have done better with it. But when the Costa scores it, he's 3 yards offside, when the shot's taken. Yeah. So like we did everything right, and we, but so we can't control the fact that we're down 1-0. So what I said after that game, but we are, and so then what we evaluate, so that's it. We evaluate, okay, how did we respond from being down 0? How did we control the game? How did we create as many chances? How do we make sure they don't score again? My frustration after that game was simply like Rodrigo, my analyst, did, tracked every single minute that was wasted in the second half, not including the goalkeeper taking his time after every goal kick, and it was like 17 minutes. And so my frustration is just like, hey, people come here to watch a football match. Like, let's actually play the full time. Now, if they waste the time, great, just tack on the end.
Yeah.
So that was more my frustration there, because we've already been hit. We've already conceded a goal we shouldn't have. Let's actually play a real football match. So that is what it is. But again, it goes back to like, your expectations. I mean, we're a point away from third place, and like we're fighting right now. We're all right. But I know what I love about our fans and my team is we want 3 points every single game.
Love that.
Alan.
Yeah. With some of those results, Evan Conway has a real good chance of matching Kyle Vassell as, leading scorer per season, and also has a really good chance of becoming San Diego's leading goal scorer. What have we seen from him that he's able to excel in maybe ways that are different from Kyle Vassell last year?
Yeah, look, like last year we did have two like really physical, like powerful nines that were a focal point. And we're able to do it in a different way this year. We don't have those same guys up there and him and Among. But Evan is, yeah, I mean, you look at the types of goals Evan scored, and it's a wide variety of types of goals. And I knew after last year, just looking at how he scored the goals, like when you scored 9 goals from wing back, and Adrian Perez is on target to again have that kind of production. Like our wing backs a lot of the time are playmakers, and we'd like to have one who's really, really aggressive on one wing who can really push the game. But Evan is like, I mean, he's just grown a lot in every way. It's hard to pinpoint to you like he's done this a lot better. Like he's always been extremely fit, extremely hardworking, extremely disciplined. He's available for every game. He's almost never injured. And just when you're just always available and he has a consistent mindset and trains so well. So if you're always available physically and you're always right there mentally every single session, so you're gonna find your way on the field. That's like half the battle right there to be a top pro. And then like he is tactically improved a lot, like with his movement, a lot. And he even improved his right foot, scored a few goals with his right foot. And the thing is that like what I believe about strikers is you, they'll score a lot if you have a certain level of talent and you're on a good team. You'll score a certain amount of goals if your team really wants you to. I mean, like there's some teams out there where the striker is such a pain in the ass. No one wants him to score, but the team like feeds Evan, loves him. They want him to succeed. So I think that we add all those things together in an improving player, and a player is super hungry, super motivated, and talented. Like this is what you get. And so I think people look at this and like, how did this happen? It's like this is always something that we believed would be possible for Evan. He took the jump up from League One, was a really important role player on our team last year, just kept showing more and more progress. And I believe that like young guys get a chance, you shouldn't block them and just bring in another guy. Like he's doing the job, and he deserves it. So I think he's having a tremendous season. What was Vass on? Was it 14? Is that what he needs to?
Yeah, in the league, yeah.
14. Okay. So yeah, he's on track to get that. But that's not the goal. Obviously, we want the wins. So, but to get the clubs, I think he's got to beat out Toomey, and Toomey hopefully is not slowing down anytime soon, so they can keep battling it out. That'll be good.
And then another player that's kind of in the midst too is Ronaldo Damus. Damus coming in. We've seen some flashes of Ronaldo that was here and help Orange County get to that championship stage. How are you with his progress here in San Diego? I know he's been utilized as a starter, coming off the bench. It seems like he is getting in some of those spots where he's needed to. Is he as you'd want him to be at this point, development wise, in the season, or is there something that you're wanting more out of for Ronaldo?
I mean, we're definitely not there yet with Ronaldo. I think that's clear. I think it's an adjustment for him for sure to, I think at Orange County when he was just the man, the only man, I think that worked well for him. He was also on a team that, sat very deep, and he had a lot of space to run into, and there wasn't a lot of thinking involved, like the distance between him and being offside or midfield was large. So it was really straightforward. I kind of spoke to him the other day about like, so Holland used to just play on counter-attacking teams in Germany. Everything was simple. Then he moves to Manchester City, and he still receives the ball behind the opponent's back line many times in the game, but it's different. He has to be a lot more like patient and clever with his movement, a lot more quick darting runs to use his pace, a lot more dismarking runs with smaller spaces behind the back line. And I think that's I'm excited for Ronaldo because he's working hard and he's learning, and that's an area where if he can get there, then he's added a whole new dimension to his game. He's not just a one-dimensional player. So that's a hard thing to do. Yeah, like look, I don't want to come on a podcast and lie about it. Yeah, like we would like Ronaldo to have scored double-digit goals by now, or just have just been a lot more smoother. It's not, but that's football, and I think that it's responsibility of Ronaldo and us, myself, my staff, and his teammates to all like work hard to improve those. I'm not one to just discard a player after a time and just be like, this isn't working. So I can just keep working with them. Ronaldo is a human being first. He made his dream move to Europe, and then they get relegated, and he's back here, and there's a lot of mental things to consider there and a lot going on. And he's put a lot of pressure on himself to perform. When you're like the golden boot and the guy that won the title and you come back to the USL, that's a bit of pressure. So my hope is, and my expectation is, we get that right at the right time, because he actually, when you look back, I think seasons are told, like, you remember things on what happened at the very end, and like he got hot at the very end for Orange County and scored a bunch of goals, but it wasn't always so smooth during the whole season. But like, we don't remember that because that's not how our memories work, right? We remember the really highs, the really lows, and the very end. Like, that's how our brains work, right? So hopefully we will remember the really highs at the end and the end. And we're still just working really hard to get those things just right, and making sure our players also find him when he's making really good runs.
Incredibly open and 100% real answer. Appreciate that.
Oh, yeah,
no,
for
definitely.
sure. Now, I want another real answer, Nate. You're doing great so far.
They're all real.
10 games left in the season, right? Right now, if the season were to end right now and you go into playoffs, you would face Oakland. But do you still think this team that you have right now can win a championship this season?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I think that's clear. I don't doubt that at all. I mean, we actually perform our best when we play the best teams. Like, we shut out Tampa, beat them this year. We've drawn San Antonio twice this year. Came back from 3-0. Like, I have no problem. Like, yeah, like, in fact, those games almost like sit better for us, to be honest. Yeah, I don't doubt that for 1 minute. It's just about making it happen. It's about getting really, really good at the end. And I think you guys have spoken about that a lot. So there is no doubt in my mind that we can, but it's also really hard, right? Because the Western Conference this year, the last 2 years, so like, we've looked it up, like the record against the East, and it is like a whole like the disparity is huge. Like, as far as the West and East performances, so we're just in a really hard league, a really hard conference. Like, we're about to play RGV, and let me tell you, I have no idea how they're in like 10th or 11th place. They are a really tough team, and just like, when a team like that, who's so tough to play against, is down there out of the playoff race, a team like El Paso that everyone like thought was awesome and loved and hasn't won in 3 months, or lost like 10 straight, it's just really hard. So I actually think we've been pretty consistent, meaning we haven't had these like really, really long bad moments. We've been consistent when we really need it. We've had a good performance. So, but you guys know it's going to come down to how we're playing at playoffs. And that's part of our sporting culture. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Like, the mood is same with our team. Like, we're frustrated. We're really confident in what we're doing and in each other, but there is some frustration there. It's like, it's not like most teams like would love to be in the spot we're in right now. 1 point from third in the game in hand. Like, who wouldn't? Like, that's okay. We're in a good spot now. We're just the type of team that we set out in the beginning of the year and wanted to win the West, and that looks to be tough right now, to be sure. But man, like, I think that growth comes through struggle, and like, if nothing is just going to be like this linear, like, start the year, start smashing everyone and go to the top. Like, this league, this is way too tough for that, and that's why we're in this thing, is to overcome really hard obstacles.
100%. And look, I mean, it has been a challenging season. You just look around the league. I know Alan is our USL guru here in San Diego, has been since day one. So, I mean, shout out to you. But, I mean, some challenges this season. What have they taught you personally and for the team as a coach, as a leader? Like, what has this season added to your repertoire in the coaching sense, looking back? I know it's not done, but every season here in San Diego and Loyal's existence has been incredibly unique. So, I mean, again, the most traveled team, any stories along with that, of the traveling of of America, essentially.
What have I learned? I learn a lot of little things every year, specifically with the type of players I get to coach. So every year when I'm coaching new players, different players, I learn a lot of like just little nuances, little things about different cultures and how to approach this type of guy, this age in his career, and how to be. I think this year is more like how to just be more understanding and compassionate towards guys and their plights. And we've had unique situation at times this year where it's like, all right, like it's 10-month season. You can't like our day of work is an extremely intense day of work, and sometimes like learning when to like really push the group and when to understand that this is a long haul, a marathon, and like emotionally we just need to take a chill a little bit, especially with how hard the travel is. I have learned. I'm really happy with how we planned how to travel this season, like how to just some best practices within our within our framework of like budget and all that kind of stuff, like how to make travel best for high performance. And so like something I never tried before as an example, like we went to Hartford. We were in Hartford like a total of 28 hours. So we were in a long stretch of travel, and we flew there. We didn't train the day before just because the load on your body is so heavy. We woke up really late. We had a team meeting, got everything tactically squared away, played the game, performed well, won, left the next morning at like 5 a.m. and got out of there. And it's like, it just showed that like in difficult circumstances to be adaptive, to think, okay, like what can work here, think outside the box. And then just a matter of like getting the players comfortable and confident in it. So I think it's a lot of like, and for me, just like high performance is just a combination of a million details. And so it's kind of always adding those things to my beliefs and always being willing to adapt to like really hard circumstances.
Yeah, I mean it has to be just arduous for the players. I mean, going from Miami and then flying back into the middle of the country, saying hi to your family once, I imagine, training in God knows where facility. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting, and I mean, we saw you wore it on your face sometimes here on these post match conferences. Just one that'll kind of just we really resonated with Nate. It's just I don't know if you remember this building here, and just the sound that came from you was just very relatable here. Just that, like that was very visceral in a way, telling, but we got it because we know that it's tough. What would you tell that Nate for, now removed a couple weeks from then?
Well, again, if you just showed me that video and sound bite, that is a face and a look and someone that just lost the game, but we didn't lose the game.
Exactly.
And that kind of goes back to like my point of like what type of team we want to be. And so when you're trying to achieve the highest things, like in professional football, point on the road, that's what like people strive for. Point on the road, baby. But that's not, you can see in my voice, and maybe that's a weakness of mine of like just not being, maybe I should just like take the win, take the draw slash the win, and just be like, hey guys, all right, whatever.
No, we like
just
it.
not
We
how
like
it's just not how I'm wired to be.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just not how I'm wired to be. But I do think I want to be a bit more positive in how I approach things, because so much is out of our control. Like I don't even know if that was a foul for a penalty. I don't think it was, but it happened. But like the way I really don't like to like blame referees, but like I looked at it, I was like, but we still made a mistake on that play.
Yeah.
And so like we made a mistake, and so what I would tell that person is just no, but he knew, like that person knew that like this day is going to come and pass, and you're going to fix the problems, and you have a really good locker room and players who take ownership and responsibility. And it's going to be okay. But it still doesn't change. I don't know. I'm not a fan, right? I'm in a very different position, but I wouldn't want someone like just painting a rosy picture to manage my emotions as a fan. Like if I'm frustrated, I'd be like, yeah, all right. Yeah, like he cares. He's frustrated. So I'm okay with my players seeing my emotions. Like they know I'm a real person. Like I'm okay, like releasing emotion, showing emotion, because at the end of the day, that's also like what the sport is all about. It's not just a bunch of robots, and I hope the sport doesn't go that way either. So
Yeah, well, it's going that way, Nate. Unfortunately, VAR technology. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
It's not right. It ain't right.
yeah.
Is there something personal that that Loyal has, just imprinted on you that you growth personally and professionally? Just looking back at it.
I mean, I've grown so much. It's hard to pinpoint. I mean, because it's not like I just came here for a year and grew through a season. I've been here 4 years, so like all my mid 30s, So it's like this is the time in your life where you're like, yeah, I've learned so much. I've gotten 4 years older. I've had a lot of experiences at a really unique club with the Soul. I've worked with Landon Donovan. I've worked with really good coaching staff. I've been able to bring my people in. I've worked with some amazing players, seen some great players grow over 4 years. Like I just had a phone call with Charlie Adams today, and it's like, and we first spoke in 2019, and he's like a different person now. So it's just like it's really cool. It's hard for me to put a finger on it, but like, yeah, this whole process has I've grown a lot as a person more than I think as a coach, and um, like I told you guys, I'd be disappointed if I don't continue to grow at a fast rate in the future.
I mean,
Well, we want to,
go for it. Go for it.
We
Alan.
just want to say thank you for your time and your answers. It's always nice getting a chance to have a little bit more drawn out discussion and chat with you in less intense situations than after a game. But really appreciate the time. Is there any message you want to give to the loyal supporters and folks as we kind of mentally prepare for this gauntlet of the last 10
for San Diego?
Oh no, I don't have a message. I hope our football, our play, sends a message. I hope they can like rally and really enjoy. We have 4 more home games, I think, just to really come out and like make a lot of noise and enjoy the matches and know that they have like influence over a match. I don't know if supporters understand how much influence they can have over a match.
Get out there.
It's incredible. And well, you asked me what I've learned this year. COVID taught me how much the supporters are a massive part of a football match. Like it was like this light bulb moment. I remember Lan and I looking at each other being like, this game would be totally different. I remember when we were like just smacking a team going to the the locals end and just putting pressure on the box. We weren't scoring yet, and he was just like, can you imagine if there were supporters? Like we'd have scored 3 goals. And I think that is something that I hope supporters know. Maybe they do. You guys can tell me if they do or not. And as much as that night last year against Oakland in the playoffs haunts us, like the atmosphere that day, even when things were kind of spiraling out of control, was like, wow, I think the city gets it. I hope they get it. It seems like they get it right now. And it's a really, really like positive fan base. And so I hope like they understand like how to pull a team through tough period and just rage a team forward when you're just all over an opponent. So I don't know. I've seen our fan base change also, like how they interact with the game from day one. I will say that. I think that's been an interesting thing to observe too, from my perspective.
I mean, we've grown up together. I mean, 4 years. You say it that way, Nate. Like, man, Alan and I were 2 of 10 people for that Phoenix match in year 1, going to playoffs, winning. Like, there's a lot of history there, and man, like this has been fun. It's a really cool season so far, and I mean the play's exciting, man. Get out there. You heard it. Nate said it. Get out there. Alan, Chiba, anything for Coach Nate?
Just thank you for your time, Nate, and we'll see you back at Torero soon.
All right, guys. Thank you. Really good speaking with you guys.
Appreciate you. Thank you. All right, and we are now back live. I'll just say that live. What you just watched, what you just saw, was the interview. We actually literally just finished with Nate Miller. So don't think it's been in the shelf for a week or two. No, it's
we're in the same shirts.
It's
the same thing.
Unbuttoned shirt.
Ay, a la madre.
But that was our conversation here with the great and powerful coach of San Diego Loyal, Nate Miller. And with that, we also had The great and powerful Alan joining us for that. Hi, Alan. Welcome back. You took a little break. We all took a little time out for that Nate Miller interview that we just saw. We just, talked with the head coach of San Diego Loyal. Like, he's our pal. In less, what did you call it? Less hostile or like situations or.
Yeah, I always feel slightly bad talking to him after games, especially highly emotional games, where it's like, I think part of it's like, I just want to get out of here. I just want to talk to the guys and get home. It's been, anytime you have a tough day at the office and then you have to like talk to people about it, like it's nice sitting in an environment where you have a little bit longer conversation, ask follow-up questions, and get kind of I don't want to say clear-headed perspective, but I think it's always, it's a heat of the moment thing, and you're going to get the initial reaction. But it's always nice to take, time to reflect on the season as a whole or parts of it. It's refreshing and it's nice to get a chance to hear Nate speak in those situations.
Yeah, now obviously following the interview, we're gonna talk about the New Mexico game.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, let's.
Let's want to
let's
decompress about that.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Compartmentalize.
I think Nate's always very honest, and I think he gave us
that Ronaldo
answers.
Answer I really liked because he didn't have to give us all of that. He could have just said, "Hey, yeah, sure, he's working through it." And next question. For all of these, right? But I really liked the way he went into it and the challenges that he's been facing. Just it's multi-layered. What happens, right? How many of us, me included, right? Like that's something that's really real. Like coming over from a team, being relegated, putting back into where you were the hot shit, and then you went to Europe because you were the hot shit, and now everybody else is looking at you like you went you went off to college, but you didn't you dropped off at some point. You have to go back home and face everybody. Hey, how like it just nobody wants that. But in any case, thank you for Nate for being there because look, it can't be easy being and having high expectations as that. What did you think about it, Alan? Just overall, like his answers, is there something that stood out?
I think from a fan perspective, it's refreshing to hear that the coach is just as frustrated and feels the ebbs and flows. But also, I thought he gave a great answer on why he doesn't ebb and flow as much as the fans do, is because that's not his job, right? Like it's our job to live and die with the team, and it's his job to be the coach and take as much emotion out of both wins and losses, right? Like you can get really high. I think he mentioned this, right? Getting really high on the wins, even though things might not go that great, or you played really well and you draw and it's frustrating and it's upsetting. But if you get too low, then you're not finding the positives. You're not building on the successes. You're just wallowing in defeat. And so I thought there was some really nice perspective on maybe why his answers or his approach to the game maybe frustrate fans from time to time. And because it's not his gig to be that up and down. And so I appreciated that response because it kind of shows you where he is mentally. And when you interview him after the game, he has clearly been frustrated at times, and we feel that with him. But it's also, I think as San Diego sports fans, we see failure a lot, and we just immediately, I don't want to say overreact, but I think react in a way that might not be the healthiest at times, both to wins and losses. But I think that's what every fan base goes through. And, we have to just kind of live with that and be okay with the coach maybe not being as angry or as joyful or as pissed off as maybe a fan would be, because that's for fans to do.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff saying it was very candid. Toro Fuerte here saying, has Nate ever tried playing a false nine? Miller ball specifically, or not Miller ball, as he said. I like the way Nate said it. Landon said it. It was like an evolution of total football. Total football, Johan Cruyff, Barcelona. Look it up if you're not familiar with it. It's pretty much how the modern game evolved into now. And so now taking the aspects of Coque Vegas and adding him onto the attack, right? Like he's your first attacker if you really want to think about it that way. Like he's really Nate and his school of soccer and the way of seeing it like is very progressive in terms of the usage of the goalkeeper. Like the fact that you have Coque Vegas who has that ability to just go up and be a center back, right? Like luckily it hasn't come back and bit him in the ass yet. It will at some point.
It will,
like it
but
just will.
You got to stick with it, right? Those are
Yeah.
strategies that eventually you have to see through. With any tactics you try, it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah, this isn't Mourinho's Inter that Diego
They
Milito and
park the
stuff.
bus.
But yeah, I mean, I again really appreciative of his time, but it's just a little bit of an insight into the locker room for San Diego Loyal at this point in the tournament in the league because it's coming down to it.
And
10
just
games.
like Nate said, there's 10 games left. It's only 4 home games left.
Get out
So,
there.
4 chances. There's a chance San Diego Loyal doesn't get a home playoff match. If not,
If anything that I got from that interview is Nate telling San Diego soccer supporters to just get out there, like
yeah,
he said he felt a difference with the crowd and how it's evolved over time, and that's absolutely fair. Take that as you may, but 109 came back alive this last game. Alan, I think you'd agree. Like things were picking up, and it could still use an extra boost. Let's go. Like it's about that time. San Diego Loyal, if the season was to end now, would face Oakland away. That's not a reality that neither Nate nor any of us here truly want to support or even think of, because that brings back pain, and suffering. Speaking of pain and suffering for San Diego Loyal, this last home match in this homestand, as we have Alan's forehead on the left, followed by other Chiva on the right. That'll get immediately fixed. Sorry, gentlemen.
yeah, we had the starting 11 for this game, and it was still a solid one. You had Coque on goal, obviously. The back line was Camden
Giant
Riley, Stoneman, and Guzman.
Oh,
I think
okay.
more importantly, you have Adrian Perez on the right
Show's
wing back
falling off the
position.
rails.
Adrian Perez obviously making an impact. Blake Bodley on the left wing back position. Then you have Joe Corona, Martin, and Charlie Adams. They've kind of solidified their starting role in that center mid. You have Guido and Evan Conway up on top. Guido kind of playing that free role player, the 10, which is where he's most always like plays the best. But again, like solid lineup. The way New Mexico has been playing, you would expect a win here, even though the history between these two teams has been tie.
We called it. Everybody called it. If you've been paying attention, Alan, like we were rolling our eyes at the end of the match. We'll get to that, but you had a really cool perspective through this match too, up in the press box. A first for you, right?
I think I've been up there like once before, but like
No, but
sitting in the press box.
Sitting with amongst the fellows that you were sitting,
Yeah.
not just Johnny. If you want to elaborate, go into a little bit more.
Yeah, it was New Mexico's coach got a red card last week, and so he joined us in the press box, which was very kind of interesting. Like I try to talk to him from time to time, but he's clearly doing his job, watching his team play. It was quite an experience. He was quite an emotional coach, but he's got a pretty solid pedigree. He coached North Texas when Ronaldo Damas. I think Ricardo Pepe was on that team as well to a championship in League One. He was assistant from Columbus Crew. Played some, he never made it to the senior U.S. team, but played some youth stuff for the U.S. national team. Decent player, but it was really interesting to kind of, as the game grew in, he got a little bit louder and critiquing but cheering his team on when they were doing well, and he had a fair amount to be angry about and a fair amount to be excited about. So it was a pretty fun experience. I think we left halfway through the second half. Wished him well, wished him safe travels with the weather, and told him not to worry because New Mexico's probably going to score an equalizer. So don't get so upset right now because they were losing.
Yeah, they were losing at that time, and you said that, and I wasn't even mad. I'm like, yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. We were calling this from last week. It's going to be a tie. It was always going to be a tie between these two teams. Nate alluded to it here in the interview. Like they know like it's something that is legitimate. You know, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully the pattern doesn't continue when we face Oakland in that pattern.
Oh, yeah, that
Um,
one's not too pretty.
that wouldn't be a nice one. But yeah, so I mean, Loyal start off the gate really, really well. Adrian Perez is just that X factor that Loyal maybe thought or wanted Elijah Martin to be at the beginning of the season, where he was poised to be. But a bit of a back and forth here. Just se llama recentro. I don't know if you're familiar with that term, Alan. Recentro.
No.
Want to take a guess on what that is? Recentro.
Is that one of those wrestler guys? He's
So
like 6'19".
Recentro,
Oh, it's Rey Mysterio.
father of
Sorry.
Recentro Jr. No, so Recentro is a head back, so a back pass with the head in the box. Say this is where like my
they cross it in and you cross it.
The back. You put it
back
back
with your
across the
head.
face of the goal. Yeah.
yeah. See, we
That's
have a word for
recentro.
that. Recentro. Put it back across the face of the goal, like recentro. It's a recross essentially. You're recrossing it back into it, right? And you're like auto goal, recentro. Use that one. Adrian Perez on the other side of this one. Goes in, man. I mean, you asked Nate about this post match to see if that was drawn up. He kind of told you that this is something that, while may not be drawn up, it's something that you kind of want to create these situations, right?
Yeah, no, and it's a good header from Stoneman, obviously. Obviously, he's going for a goal. It turned out to be a recentro, and Adrian Perez just notices that it's short and hops in and takes the header and just seals the deal, right? And that's an early start for San Diego Loyal. And I mean, I wasn't at that game, but I can imagine you guys were pretty stoked, saying like, okay, this is different, this is cool. All right, it's a good start, but it wasn't too much time of enjoyment as the New Mexico equalizes as well.
Let Alan enjoy it. Alan, you were enjoying it, right? It was nice.
I mean, it was good to start off. I think in previous weeks, you start off, behind and having to fight back in some games this year, and maybe some frustrations laying over from against Memphis, that getting that first goal so soon was like, okay, like, all right, we can feel good about this. And then 5 minutes later, they equalize on a set piece. And as Nate Miller pointed out, this is the first like corner given up, which is surprising, right? I think some people just assumed that we gave up a lot of set pieces. This one's tough. Headed down, there's a lot of confusion. The headed down ball is always difficult for a goalkeeper. He loses sight of it. Maybe gets a touch on it there to spin it a different direction, and you just got to react. Two guys on the line, so he's clearly onside. This is one of those, you wish it was better, but a kind of I guess a free header. He just floated back. Cam maybe didn't get a good read on it. And there you go.
Not only that, Joe Corona saves that and he gets a red card.
Yeah, there's a moment here where little Luis Suarez action right there.
I think it's just an instinct.
Yeah, it's just like
it's just like oh shoot, like
he literally punched it up, right, Joe? But yeah, I mean, it's meant to happen where the moment it hits here, the Coque Vegas is expecting the ball to ricochet in a million different ways off that attacker's leg. Just doesn't. Nothing happens. Like that's the reality of these things. Sometimes away fans
it's interesting.
celebrating.
It was
here.
Kyle Colonna, who's SDSU alumni. So he played all 4 years at SDSU and signed with New Mexico after. But
Could have signed for Loyal. Some I don't know. Right?
Loyal was in need of center backs at the time, probably.
Oh well.
But other than that, I mean, Sandy, this game was back and forth action nonstop. I mean, you look at the stats on paper and you're like, wow, this was a very entertaining game. Like 6 shots on target for Loyal, 5 for New Mexico. And I was at the Wave game for this one. Pretty much played similar times, but like, what felt different, or did anything feel different at all from this time around? That's a no. That's a no from
Everything
Tony
kind of felt
Allen.
inevitable. Like, regardless of how this game went in the first 85 minutes of the night, the last 5 minutes was what's gonna really matter.
But I think overall, San Diego have done a better job this season in not getting scored on in the last 5 minutes. Would you not agree?
Sure, because it's usually them trying to claw back, if they're even in that situation, and they do, and they tie, and they get those ties. I feel like wins. I don't know. What do you think, Alan?
I mean, Indy 11 had a late goal, but then they went on a run of clean sheets. I mean, Orange County had a late goal, but that they were already winning by that point. So I wouldn't really consider that one. Loudoun's goal comes first. They fight back, get too late. So it hasn't been quite as like devastating as some of the previous seasons, right? They fight back against San Antonio. The Sac Republic goal was early. They fight back for a draw. Same thing with San Antonio. The second time is, they're scoring the last goal of the game. Maybe Pittsburgh is because it's right in our memory banks. It was a late goal to give it up. And then again now. And maybe it's just also kind of a flashback of in years past where it was like that. But like, I think for the majority of the game, I think you felt pretty good about this one. This goal. This was literally right after I was like, man, that North Texas was one hell of a team to the coach. And he's like, yeah, they were. And then Tubi scores. But I think, they gave up some looks. New Mexico had some really nice chances, but they were, they weren't able to get the goal. And so you felt like this was going to be the time that you finally broke through. And I almost said the comment, just kind of an offhand joke, like, hey, you're going to score in stoppage time. Not that I thought that they necessarily would. And for a while.
That's what I said. But even then, I even told you, I don't even feel like that's, that's what's going to happen. 100%. Every time.
And then Riley gets subbed out because he's hurt. And, you make a comment like, oh, I wouldn't take a guy out in that situation. I'm like, I'm not sure they had much of a choice.
Yeah.
But I think that's a huge part, right? Like Jackson comes in or Simba comes in and maybe he's not reading the game the same way that that Camden Riley was because he wasn't in the flow of the match. But there's just tons of space there. That's more of,
it's an
know,
unmarked
2
man.
on 2.
Yeah, it's an
trying to
unmarked man.
Too much space.
Yeah. Somebody is responsible for that, collectively, individually, however you want to see it. It's a good pass. It's a good lead into that through ball. But I mean, you got to tighten that up, right? Like Nate was talking about, like, is this a championship game? A team? Sure, 100% capable, has a potential, but you can't be having these missteps again. If Riley's out for whatever reason at the end of the game, whoever's next man up has to be ready. And Simba clearly wasn't. Whoever miscommunicated there, it just wasn't ideal. And you got to have depth. And, Elijah still hasn't really come back. From what I've been hearing, he should have been coming back. I don't know if Guzman is just cementing himself there. If they're really liking these looks. From what we've heard about Nick Moon, it's not looking ideal at this point for a return in the regular season, at least for sure. But I mean, it's frustrating, and that's why, again, I like where Nate was talking about. Like, he's very open. There's a frustration, because you know the potential of what you have. You know what you have in your locker room. And to not get away with 3 points at home in a homestand where you really needed it, I think, emotionally, for a myriad of reasons, it would have been really nice. It would have been really nice to get a win, is all I'm saying. They got points. It's New Mexico. It seems like it was going to go that way anyways.
I think he said it too, right? I mean, the frustration is not getting the amount of points you wanted on this home stretch. You drop points against Orange County. You drop points against Memphis, which you really thought you could pull off a win. And you kind of drop points against New Mexico as well. So out of those 5 home games, you really just won 2 of them. So it is frustrating out of those 5 games. But now you have a few more away games than home games left in this last 10 games. And I don't know if you're in this spot where you want to be in the table right now. If you're looking for a home playoff match, obviously you're only 3 points out from Orange County with the game in hand, but so is Oakland Roots.
I think the other issue too with the Orange County is now they have the tiebreaker,
Exactly.
so you have to get 4 points instead of 3. You can't just go in there and be even with them because they'll win the tiebreaker. You're even with Oakland Roots, so like that the New Mexico game could be 2 more points, and now you're a point out of third. You know what I mean? Like I think there's going to might be some woulda, shoulda, coulda. But again, you're still very much in control of your own destiny. You still play Oakland one more time, so you got that going on. And then right now you're playing, you still have 2 games against Monterey Bay and 2 games against Las Vegas Lights. You really have to take advantage of those opportunities to, beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And if, Monterey hasn't looked super great as of late, Las Vegas is not doing well either. If you get 12 points out of those 4 games where your opponents are playing at maybe a tougher schedule, then that's going to be a difference, right? Some of these teams have already played Vegas and already played Monterey, but you're looking at RGV like, oh, well, they're also out of the playoffs. But when RGV plays the game they want to play, they're very good. Swarming defense, very high, they're very press based, been inconsistent, right? But Loyal's been inconsistent too. So I think, the same points in the past 5 games for both teams. RGV is going to be a tough game to play on the road. And so I think you need to go in there with a playoff mentality and really take the game to them and hurt them when they're down.
I mean, if you look at it, right? Orange County still has to play Sacramento. They still have to play San Antonio twice. They have to face Oakland as well. So they do have a tougher schedule ahead of them than Loyal do to wrap up the season compared to Oakland Roots, who have to face Sacramento again. They still have to face San Antonio. So you're right there. You are in a comfortable spot, but you just have to make sure you cannot make those mistakes late in the games anymore. You're coming down to the stretch where every little mistake can determine whether you get a home playoff match or you don't. Oh, man, just like Nate.
I like that. Yeah. I like that he referred to himself as that guy when I asked him about, like, hey, what would you tell this Nate Miller?
Nate
like,
in the past, man. That's
that
Nate
guy,
from 2 months ago.
This character here. I mean, that's the reality of San Diego Loyal this season. There's been some highs, there's been some lows. I think everybody's been honest with themselves as far as like team wise and on the field wise. It's just I don't think anybody's just hidden what this team is, and everybody realizes the potential that it might have, and that's a frustrating part I feel with everybody who's been following Loyal this season. But there's plenty of chances still to kind of sharpen those skills. Playoffs, I mean,
I
you would
think they'll
hope
make
for a home.
playoffs. They'll make playoffs.
They'll make playoffs. You hope for a home game at some point. But if a championship means that you're the away underdogs and you're just beating people in their house, this season I think they've been I liked Loyal better away at times, if not more often, than I have them seeing them at home. So I see the route. I see the potential. I see better hopes of San Diego Loyal winning a championship than the San Diego Padres.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I saw them play on Friday. They won.
I almost got into a fight with relief pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks, Castro, the one that gave up the homer to Tatis on Friday. It was fun. I was sitting in the bullpen section. Anyway, Alan, this team is frustrating. It's fun.
Is Loyal beating RGB?
I mean, it depends. It seems as if RGV, when they go down to 10 men, are they've drawn the past two when they've gotten red cards. I mean, they totally beat up on Locomotive and looked really, really good. They looked good against Orange County, right? Like if RGV doesn't beat Orange County has a much longer win streak. But then again, they didn't look that great against San Antonio. They defended really well against Rising for down a man for 45 minutes. They're a tough team to play, particularly at home, because the travel to get into that stadium is next to impossible, right? There's no direct flights to where RGV is. It's a taxing trip for a team coming to there, so that's part of the advantage. But maybe not as dark hole as it used to be, right? RGV's got a draw against Sacramento this year. So I mean, I think it's they're beatable. I think Loyal can, if they can beat the press. I think if they maintain possession, keep a cool head, score first, I think they're going to be in good shape. If they get frustrated and can't put a goal in and it's 0-0 longer in the game, I think RGV that benefits them, and then they come out ahead. So I think Loyal need to start fast and make this a home playoff game or a home game for them in RGV.
Just to give some context of where we're talking about, USD. If you're going from USD, it's a 21-hour drive from here to RGV. If you go a little closer, yeah, there's not much around here.
Lots of green.
Yeah, HEB Park.
Heb Park.
HEB. I hear that HEBs are actually like really cool. They're like Trader Joe's on steroids, like a Texan. I
mean, it's a cool stadium.
Farmers market.
It's like a legit stadium. I think it's big, if I remember correctly. That's pretty spacious, which, Nate Miller talks about. He would like that extra space, and maybe they take advantage of that. Maybe there's some positivity there where they can play a more expansive style. If I remember that field correctly, it's been a minute since I've watched a game in RGV.
So what I'm hearing, Alan, is that with this extra space, you're predicting a San Diego Loyal win?
Sure, 2-1.
Ooh, I like that. I'm going 1-0. No. Fuck. Let's go down. Let's go 1-0. Loyal win.
San Diego Loyal is going to tie 1-1. Just a tie. Just a very boring sound soccer match in the middle of nowhere, Texas. Positive points, I guess. But until I see something else from this team, I need to see that fire. I want the gloves to come off sometimes and just have this team really show that potential. So 1-1, just sometimes it feels like, yeah, Loyal play up to the competition, but sometimes it feels like they play down to it, unfortunately. So we'll see. My only memory of this is Vicente Sanchez, Liga MX legend that for some reason still lived and was a coach/player for RGV, tied it up in last second
against Loyal.
Loyal. That was that second chance brewery. Jesus.
I think that goal, he became the oldest goal scorer in USL history.
Yes.
Amazing. Love
and
that.
was older than Landon Donovan when he scored it, I believe.
Yep. Yes, he was. Man. But that's what we got today. Sir Alan, you have anything else for us? It's been a cool little home August for San Diego Loyal.
I'm glad. Hopefully everyone is safe from the storm yesterday. If we have any listeners in the desert area, hopefully everything survived and went well. And then I guess congratulations to Jerry for his new gig with the yet to be named MLS There's Never Been Soccer in San Diego team.
It's going to be an interesting dynamic these coming times. for soccer in San Diego. Check out San Diego.futbol for everything and anything soccer related in San Diego. So that's going to be the home of it. Apparently, the B in HEB stands for Butt, B-U-T-T. I can't confirm that right now. I'll confirm in a bit because I'm curious now.
We're going to take your word for it, Steve.
Steve, who I had your hat. I was looking for you, Steve.
Oh.
I was looking for you, Steve. I hit you up.
Dang, Steve.
Dang, Steve. But yeah.
Alan, thank you for joining us. Have a safe night.
You as well. See you guys soon.
See you
Bye.
soon, man.
Man, that Alan's a character. Sujeto.
San Diego Wave won, Tony. And I was at that game. And I want to talk about it because San Diego Wave finally won after not winning 10 games, 9-10 games. I think the last win was May 20th. Oh, no, June 4th against Gotham. That was their last win. June 4th.
Yeah.
So something about Gotham that gives San Diego. ¿Qué pasó con Football Weekly? Oh,
Who said that?
6-1 on soccer.
Hey, we'll hit you up in the.
No, yeah, no worries, no worries.
Tranquilo.
It's in the works.
Hey, tranquilo.
Tranquilo, viejo.
Tranquilo.
Tranquilo.
All right. Who defines a week? Supposedly the big guy made the creation in 7 days. How long were those days? There wasn't a sun. We base our calendars around the Gregorian calendar that's based around celestial things that apparently didn't
This is
fucking
philosophy
exist.
major, Tony.
All right. So you tell me. All right. Is there a higher being? Is there a coach, a celestial coach that's so smart that he can outsmart, is so powerful he can't? Can he or she or they microwave a burrito hot enough that he, they, she or they or whoever can't eat because it's too hot? Then, yeah.
Holy, that's
Tell
all
me.
we have for today. I'm just kidding. San Diego Wave faced Gotham. They moved the time from 7 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Because of Hillary.
Because of Hillary. This was the celebration of Mackenzie Doniak's 100 NWSL appearances. This wasn't her 100 appearance. It was her celebration. But this was the lineup that they put out. You have Giannis. Obviously, Kaylin Sheridan wasn't available because she got a red card on her last game for Wave.
Yes, she did.
So you have Pogue on the left back position, Kylie Rio, and Dal Kemper, who put in a 90-minute shift. So last week she played 45. This time full 90. West on the right back position. You have Calaprico and Dougherty Howard. Doniak played more on the mid position. They were rotating between Shaw and her. But Shaw obviously plays a little more attacking. Obviously, Morgan was up on top, and then Rachel Hill in the right wing position. This was a solid lineup from what they've been having. Obviously, with Dal Kemper back, that back line is a little more solid. And the game started off pretty well for them, right? They start out with the Mackenzie Doniak goal and assist by Jana Shaw, who obviously just manages to break down the game.
Yeah.
Like, for her to be 18 years old, she manages to see the vision. Like, she has that vision for those through balls like not a lot of players have in this league as well. At least for her age. Like, she just knows where to put the ball. She did give another assist, and it was ruled offsides to Rachel Hill. Which in my mind, I was like, wow, that's a fucking great through ball. Like, what the heck?
That's a pretty goal. Like, just
a nice
from
goal.
the beginning, like from the throw-in, right? Like, it's one of those plays where you kind of designed to be that way. Sure, you get fouled, great advantage here. Give him some space. Jaden Shaw crosses it into the middle. El campanazo.
And that's
bing,
the thing,
bing.
right? She knows she has pretty much two players on her, so there's someone that's open in that box. And she finds the hole. Mackenzie Doniak, she's done this before, where she's able to run to the ball and take a shot first touch. She does that and puts San Diego Wave on top.
And you were talking about it too. Yanez had a really good game.
She had a shift. This was probably her best performance in a Wave uniform. She had 4 saves, I believe, and had a very important save in the second half where she hit the crossbar. This was the offside goal I was talking about, that through ball. Rewind it a little bit. Like, look at this through ball. She finds the space, takes one out. Look at that through ball.
Oh,
Yeah. Like, It was a great ball, and she was barely offsides. If she was, I mean, VAR ended up checking in. She was.
I'm telling you,
Chivar,
VAR
Team
just ruining
Chivar.
the game. Ruining the game.
It didn't seem like she was.
Oh my god, that's sight. I can't. All right.
But then it kind of went back and forth. Obviously, not too much action. Particularly, the game ended 2-1. But then Casey Stoney just makes her subs, right? She puts Barcenas in, and then she puts Amira Ali, who's available again. And Barcenas just gives a great through ball to Ali, and this was Ali's first touch as well in the game.
I love it when that happens.
I think that happened for Toomey as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we're recovering the ball here.
Hill came off to make way for Ali.
And Ali's been in there.
Mel gets the ball,
Barcenas through
finds the
ball.
space
Very well done.
with speed, takes on the keeper.
Nothing for a keeper to do there. Yeah, no, that's a really good goal. That's a really good pass.
Also, Kyra Carusa had her debut. She got minutes as well, coming in as a sub. World Cup experience. She's from San Diego. And I mean, she played good. She kind of recovers that ball there, and it's Barcenas that gets the ball and gets the through ball. And after this, you can just know, okay, Wave is going to win this game.
So Barcenas, you said, becomes a...
The youngest player to assist in the NWSL history.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
So that's something good to have under San Diego Wave's belt, obviously. But yeah, I mean, then they get a red. No, they don't get a red card. Their player. So the ref at 8 minutes after the game, and 5 of those minutes were on hold because the goalkeeper got injured.
Yeah, pretty bad injury. Not good.
She had to get carted off. I wasn't too sure what the injury was, but then they were out of substitutions, and a player had to pretty much play goalkeeper. They just, because the goalkeeper was wearing white shorts, and I'm like, oh dang, that's a player.
Yeah.
They just put on the shirt and the gloves.
John Terrying it.
They managed to get a goal. Obviously, at this point, a lot of the players were kind of gassed and they were tired. But really, nothing Giannis could do in this one.
I mean,
It
that's a
was
really
so
good shot.
well
That's a
shot.
really good shot.
And Giannis doesn't expect that. And we got Giannis in the post game, which was pretty cool to hear from her. But yeah, no, I mean, it would have been a clean sheet for her, which obviously could have been good. But you wonder if having Sheridan back kind of like, it's a little kick, right? Like saying, oh, okay, man, maybe I should perform a little better to see if I can get more minutes. Probably won't anymore. There's 6 games left in the season for San Diego Wave. Right now they're sitting in 6th place still, which is still enough to make playoffs. And you would face Gotham, but now you cut the points to 1. Literally, you're 4 points away from first place, Portland. You're 1 point away from Gotham. So
Portland's playing really good. That's the team to beat right now.
And it's a very tight race, right, to get a home playoff, and that's something that San Diego's obviously looking for. You face Orlando Pride, who Orlando Pride have obviously
There's been difficulties.
given a battle to San Diego Wave, and they're only 2 points behind Wave. So this is a very important matchup. It's going to be Friday at 4 p.m. in Orlando. But yeah, I mean, again, press conferences for San Diego Wave have not been the most popular. Just people don't show up. But I got to ask a lot of questions.
Yay.
Yeah, I think it's huge for us. We have obviously had a tough go the past couple games, but I think to be able to persevere through that and come out tonight and really give a good performance, and I think still we can do better, and that's I think an exciting component to this last part of the season for us.
And then they celebrated your 100 NWSL appearance as well. You just scored in that
That's me.
celebration. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I think it just, obviously this league has grown so much, and I've gone through a lot the past 8 seasons, so I'm just really happy for just all of my teammates that I've been able to share this experience with, and I'm happy to do it with San Diego Wave. And yeah, it meant a lot tonight.
And Shay, great performance from you as well.
Oh.
It would be nice to have the clean sheet towards the end, but how are you feeling? I know you picked up kind of like a slight injury. How are you feeling from that?
No, I'm feeling good. I'm just excited that we got 3 points, and so proud of the team because we really grafted till the end and all the way through. I don't know how many minutes we played, but I think it was like close to 100, and we were determined to get the clean sheet, or not the clean sheet, the 3 points. So whatever happens at the end of the game is going to happen because we're on our back foot, but we were diligent in our play, and we got the 3 points.
It's a very tight league. What do you speak between each other about the points that you are having? And
Yeah, obviously it's very close points-wise, and I think that there's so many good teams in this league, and so 3 points is huge, especially in our home turf. So I think to be able to get this win tonight, start this last part of the season off strong, is huge for us.
If eventually you see the whole thing, it's maybe 3-4 of us asking questions, and that just goes to show how much the big media is not covering San Diego Wave
Or soccer in general.
or soccer in general, right?
Like-
It's the same, and we're gonna go off topic here. It's the same group of 4 or 5 people that we've been going to all the games.
I would love to give props, and this is like from the streets, I guess, because we're from the streets, and we give rep. Darnay Tripp from NBC. He's been there. He's been at it. There's like a couple people that like have been there, have been
Yeah.
at it. I know him, and he has Kelsey Turnbow on his show just to kind of break down the Women's World Cup. Which, I mean, by the way, partidazo. La final.
Yeah.
Spain winning the World Cup there. Barcelona. Oh, if you saw the fixture
Ayuna de
breakdown,
Pachuca. Ayuna de Pachuca.
there's somebody in Pachuca.
And that's
That's
Spanish.
pretty cool. So okay. Sidetrack to the sidetrack. So Pachuca has a World Cup winner. So Liga MX has a World Cup winner. Therefore, Liga MX probably have some good competition for there to be a World Cup winner amongst them. Some of them, including Christina Birkenrode. Why not look at somebody like Christina Birkenrode, Mia Official, if they can cut it in Liga MX and are actually tearing it apart? Why not really consider them in your plans for whatever it is that you think that you need to in playoffs? Because I don't know if you have the firepower right now to win. If they get it together, Jaden Shaw, Alex Morgan,
I'll tell you
Korniak,
this:
if they start
Alex Morgan
connecting,
did not look good
I
in this
mean,
match.
that's.
Alex Morgan was terrible in this game.
I mean, she's getting back assimilated. She's the face of this franchise, so she needs to get out there. And if everything lines up, I think they should be having themselves a good run here into playoffs. They should be making playoffs, much like San Diego Loyal. They're in a similar spot where they have the team, the capacity to play really well. Will they?
They should. They
on
should.
a-
Obviously, you have Naomi
any
Girma
given
back.
Sunday.
You're gonna have Caitlin Sheridan back, so that defense should be a lot more solid. You're gonna have Abby Dahlkemper along with Girma, and you know what? Abraham really asked a good question here. Shout out to Abraham. He was on Zoom there. Ask Casey Stoney. You now have 3 really good center backs to choose from with Dahlkemper back and Kylie Rio playing at the level she's playing, and you have Naomi Girma back. Like, how do you choose? How do you rotate? And she said, you know what? I'd rather have this headache and have to like sit one out than before a couple weeks ago. I only had 1 center back.
Mhm.
So it's like it's a good problem to have, like having the depth in that center back position now with six games left. Every single point is going to matter for this team.
So yeah, San Diego Wave continue into the season. Cool bucket hat release.
I got you one.
Oh, that was cool.
Did you see the back? San Diego Wave.
Damn, that's cold.
It's a cool bucket hat.
Episode 3 of the MLS
Bato.
Chronicles. Which okay,
I don't think we showed episode 2 either on here.
okay.
Did we?
Let's be cool. Let's. Congratulations to our boy Jeremias. Gerardo,
yeah.
Jerry. Shout out, one of our own. He's one of our own. He's one of our own. Jerry, man, he's one of our own.
Fellow United fan. Yes, of course. Congrats, man. That's
Group. In what capacity? We'll see. But for now, this is what we have from the San Diego FC account. Will it, won't it be the official name? Will it, won't it be just the crazy? Oh, the boys are calling.
oh wow.
The boys are calling.
You cannot answer that right now.
No. But yeah, so the MLS has this ongoing series. First one was Bridge Barcata. Second one was over at SDSU.
And he did that. I didn't know you were chill like that, bro.
Let's listen in.
Well, soccer culture here in San Diego it's very vast. You have a population which is near the border, and you have teams in Liga MX, and then you have teams up north in MLS. So you have a variety to pick up, but what you don't have is a San Diego team yet.
That's right.
Yeah.
MLS doesn't have a San Diego team, making it seem like there's not soccer in San Diego. Well, that's fine. I'm not gonna die on that.
I think San Diego new club will impact soccer from all levels, mainly because they have somebody to root for. And that's definitely something that we're missing. I mean, you grow up and your parents teach you, you go for this club, but you don't live in that city. Or now with MLS, you go for that club, but you've never been to that city. So for personally, to represent a club, that's for me and for us, it means the world. I think the impact on the border with Mexico.
What?
I just realized why they didn't use me in the freaking first episode.
Why?
Because I mentioned you have San Diego Loyal, you have San Diego Wave, you have San Diego Soccers.
Boo! Boo! What are you doing? ¿Qué estás haciendo? What are you
That's why they didn't
doing?
use me.
What are you doing? Alejandro, ¿qué vergas estás haciendo?
I was being honest.
Oh, look what being honest gets you.
Not in the videos, apparently.
Look what being about it truly reflects on you. You're reflecting bad on us. It's a bad look. Two ball. I'm mad.
I'm sorry.
Will be great. I mean, we have a saying in Spanish is ni de aquí ni de allá, so neither here nor there. And I think definitely you have a population who aren't fully over there or aren't fully over here for whatever reason. And this San Diego team is built for us, for the not here nor the theirs.
Cool. Episode 2.
As the SU,
So
if
they
you're about
asked-
you've been there and played there. There's pickup, I believe, Wednesday nights that are pretty competitive, and they picked that day, and it was a group of guys that went out and played. And I mean, props, like, right? That's what San Diego soccer should be too.
So they asked, like, hey, where do people play cascaritas, right? Like, I'm not gonna fall on on anything of like, oh, you're nitpicking, like, oh, it's they misspelled this, whatever, fine. Seems like they're genuinely trying to find people to play. I think they would have rather have more of a turnout for a video like that. I mean, let's help out, I guess. Evo Street, go to East Lake Soccer.
Go to Evo Street.
Go to Evo Street, East Lake Soccer.
Primo does that, runs that league.
Go to on a Saturday, Sunday, afternoon, morning, whatever you want.
And go to Parque del Ala,
Parque del Ala, Montgomery Field. Look it up. It has a big wing. Look up the history.
If you're gonna cover all San Diego, is Santee San Diego?
Go to Santee. Go
The
to the sports complex. Where do people? And that's the thing. Go to where it's happening. It's
Sound's going on.
back. Yeah,
Oh.
sound is back. I hate it when it does that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Check.
With the phone.
Yeah, check again, just on the thing. Anyway. Look on your Facebook. Point Loma has a YMCA indoor soccer field that people jump the fence. Go jump a fence. Go jump a fence with them. Like,
That'd be cool.
go. Like, it's fine.
Okay.
All right, perfect. We're good. In any case, and what it really means. But anyway, here's episode 3.
So for me to have a new club in San Diego, I think it's something massive. I think that soccer has been growing a lot lately here in San Diego and also throughout the country.
San Diego's always been a soccer city, but we've never had a team. I mean, we've had a team in football, which we don't have anymore, baseball, but the world sport is soccer. And the fact that we will now have
the blatant omission of it. Like, yeah, it's a dude. El vato a lo mejor no sabe. Granted, the guy maybe isn't aware of Loyal. Like, sure, that's a valid statement.
But if you really a fan of the game,
but to just use that and just go with and just now, and this is the thing that I personally just don't like about American sports is that it appeals too much to the casual fan. It appeals too much to the fan that doesn't care because they want to bring them in for the spectacle of it and we'll wow you, we'll show you. That's why you have halftime shows with so-and-so's, oh, come look at the flyover. You get a free military flyover. Like, this is part of the accoutrement, the pageantry of sports, the national anthem before every single soccer game, every single sporting event. Okay, like if that's the brand that you're going for, like, it's fine, but appeal to the people that are gonna die for the sport,
and have some respect while you're at it. Respect
not saying that. And not
based on what
because
it doesn't seem that way.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Yeah, you went out with Chicano Futsal and Bridge Carter and you did episode. But this is
the same field that everybody's used.
it's the same group of guys.
San Diego MLS team, it means so much.
It's not an attack on the guy.
As a big fan of soccer from a young age, having this local team that will be able to support and see throughout the next few years means a lot to me. I feel it's going to connect me more to the city. It's going to bring more attention to the whole sport of soccer.
Well, what I envision for San Diego FC, championship.
The way I envision this team is a very passionate team.
I think this can totally bring fans together and this will be something very important towards the San Diego-Tijuana athletic relationship.
Not a very known place for a lot of professional soccer teams. I think having this team here is just going to be a big step for not just the MLS, but like soccer in general.
3 things that make San Diego what it is: diversity,
pride,
passion,
unification,
and the culture, because we have culture from all over the world here in San Diego.
I feel this team is going to be a very strong team. We're not going to be here to just play around. I think we're here to compete, and I think that's going to bring a lot of happiness to a lot of the fans here. I believe that it's going to be a massive upgrade to what we have as of now.
Ouch.
Yeah, and the video, I mean, it's cool. It's cool. Good editing. Everything's cool. My problem with this is it's the same group of guys. It's the same field. Don't be lazy with it. Get out there. Why would you drop episode 2 and then episode 3 with the same group of people?
You're just sad that they didn't use you.
100% I am. Oh, because I mentioned Loyal.
I mean, these guys didn't.
I know.
They knew better. They knew better. They know who they're talking to.
Oh, they don't know?
They're talking to Papi MLS. They're talking to the big dogs. They're talking to the team that's, discovered soccer. Again, it's like a conquistador thing. It's been here. But no, MLS discovered soccer in San Diego. There was no soccer previously. Updates. I mean, updates are coming. There's going to be another meeting before the meeting, I believe, of announcing what the name is, what the crest is, what the colors are.
Mm-hmm.
It's been out there. Some of the descriptions of people who have seen some of the branding is it's all right. It's cool. That's literally me just reading text, not adding any emotion or sadness or indifference to the cool, but it's cool. It can be interpreted in many ways. I don't care. I'll reserve all judgment until I actually see it. We're working on getting Tom Penn. We're in contact of trying to get him in studio. We might go up to their facilities up in North County, for a sit down talk and conversation about these things. Because again, he's coming and building a successful brand in LAFC. LAFC is, and LA in general is incredibly different from San Diego, as we all know it. The one thing that I would hate for people to feel is that,
You good?
yeah, you're good. You're looking at over there. Is that it's just a baby brother of LA. It's a LA light. Whatever gets done here, right? Like, it's just
Copy and paste.
copy paste, and see you later. Just make out with the bag. And
San Diego likes.
what
being
is it? What
original.
is it gonna? What is it that San Diego FC, if that's gonna be the name of it, which is, I don't know.
Most likely will be. Right?
But if that's what's gonna be the pizzazz, what's gonna be the it factor, what's gonna be the distinction between LA and San Diego? Make a distinction between LA Galaxy, sure, all you want, but LAFC, if that's all you've known and that's what you've built, I'm curious to see what the differences are and what the San Diego twang will be, because that will be telling moving forward. Because again, Right to Dream project, fantastic. Everything seems to be in order for, this to be another success. St. Louis doing pretty well.
It's going to be very different when it's 2025 and we actually have the team and see them play, obviously, right? They could be a very good team and then just win everyone over that way. But for now, they have to focus and do the job for the community and win the crowd. And they have a year and a half for that. So hopefully some of these episodes, they hear the people and they go to different parts of the community where soccer's already kind of established in those parks and communities. So I don't know. Is there anything else? We went to TJ.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, it was part of it too. We showed a friend around.
To where you played when you were a kid.
Yeah,
And I
one of
met
the
your
places-
goalkeeper coach.
Yeah, the guy that trained me.
And he talked shit.
Because wouldn't I talk shit?
I asked his coach, hey, was he all that? Like, did
Natalio
he
Esteban.
almost make pro? Like how he always tells everyone? He's
100%.
like, nah, he wasn't all that. Like,
He's breaking my balls.
And he said,
he's breaking my balls.
200 pounds lighter, maybe.
200 kilos, yeah.
200 kilos. That's almost
Yeah.
400 pounds.
Yeah, well, that's part of his,
I
wink,
know.
wink, nudge, nudge.
But I asked him,
He knows.
but he was all right. He was good. He's like, oh, yeah, he was all right.
Yeah, that's just fucking legendary.
Yeah.
But
You heard it here first. Tony was all right.
I welcome anybody from the front office, Tom Penn. I'll take you. I've been taking people to TJ, apparently.
Tony's about to start a new business, taking
right
people on tours
to TJ
of
in Mexico. It's
Tijuana
been
and
working
showing
out,
them the
tacos,
barrio
like
and the
taking them-
football community.
If that's what you want to see, like let's go. I know the spots. I know the places. I'll keep you safe.
And he's not talking about cholos.
I've taken people, 6 people or 5 should fit. Just make sure you bring a passport and we'll be good. Hit me up.
Auto
I might
ID,
do
Yaka.
I might be doing a San Diego Loyal front office caravan soon.
Sick.
In any case, anyway, that's what we got for
That we got.
today. Messi wins the MLS
The Leagues Cup.
Leagues Cup. What else is new?
Querían, güey. It's obvio, obvious.
O sea, obvious. Nate Miller, thank you for joining us here. Alan Underwood. Check out San Diego.Futbol. Everything San Diego related. It's going to be growing very soon. Pay attention to it. Thank you for everybody that sat around, listened to us nincompooping around, having a grand old time. We will be doing, if you're interested, hey, Eric Fowler. Shout out, Eric Fowler.
Next episode, we will
photographer
be...
extraordinaire. A real life hero, that guy. Shout
Next
out.
episode will be
Eric Fowler.
Next episode, just heads up, we'll be announcing the people that made our fantasy league, 2 balls in a league, and then we'll be announcing our draft day. So stay tuned for that.
100%. Forever.
Laters, guys.
Bye.